Number 13. Definitely plan your work. Some of us may think we are too depressed right now to start on a new course of personal motivation, or we are too angry, or we are too upset about certain problems. But Napoleon Hill instead that's the perfect time to learn one of life's most unusual rules. There is one unbeatable rule for the mastery of sorrows and disappointments, and that is the transmutation of those emotional frustrations through definitely planned work. It is a rule which has no equal. Once we get the picture of who we want to be, definitely planned work is the next step on the path. Definitely planned work inspires the energy of purpose. Without it, we suffer from a weird kind of intention deficit disorder. We are short on intention. We don't know where we are going or what we are up to. When I was a training instructor at a time management company many years ago, we taught people in business how to maximize time spent on the job. The primary idea was this: 1 hour of planning saves 3 hours of execution. However, most of us don't feel we have time for that hour of planning. We are too busy cleaning up yesterday's problems that were caused by lack of planning. We don't yet see that planning would be the most productive hour we spent. Instead, we wander unconsciously into the workplace and react to crisis. Again, most of which result from our failure to plan. A carefully planned meeting can take a third of the time that an unplanned free for all takes. A carefully planned day can take a third of the time that an unplanned free for all day takes. My friend Kirk Nelson manages a large sales staff at a major radio station. His success in life was moderate until he discovered the principle of definitely planned work. Now he spends 2 hours each weekend on his computer planning the week ahead. It's made all the difference in the world, he said. Not only do I get 3 times the work done, but I feel so in control. This week feels like my week, the work feels like my work, my life feels like my life. It is impossible to work with a definite sense of purpose and be depressed at the same time. Carefully planned work will motivate you to do more and worry less. Number 14. Bounce your thoughts. If you have ever coached or worked with kids who play basketball, you know that most of them have a tendency to dribble with only one hand, the one attached to their dominant arm. When you notice a child doing this, you might call him aside and say, "Billy, you are dribbling with just the one hand every time, and the defender can easily defend you when you do that. Your options are cut off. You need to travel with your other hand too, so that he never knows which way you are going to go." At this point, Billy might say, "I can't." And you smile and say, "What do you mean you can't?" And Billy then shows you that when he dribbles with his dominant, weaker hand and arm, the ball is all over the place. So, to his mind, he can't. Billy, you say, "It is not that you can't, it's just that you haven't." Then you explain to Billy that his other hand can dribble just as well if he is willing to practice. It's just a matter of logging enough bounces. It's the simple formation of a habit. After enough practice dribbling with his other hand, Billy will learn you were right. The same principle is true for reprogramming our own dominant habits of thinking. If our dominant thoughts habit is pessimistic, all we have to do is dribble with the other hand. Think optimistic thoughts more and more often until it feels natural. If someone had asked me before I started my journey to self-motivation that began with the Napoleon Hill, why I didn't try to be more goal-oriented and optimistic, I would have said, "I can't. It's just not me." I wouldn't know how, but it would have been more accurate for me to just say, "I haven't." Thinking it's just like bouncing the basketball on the one hand, and I can think pessimistically and build that side of me up. It's just a matter of repeatedly bouncing those thoughts. On the other hand, I can think optimistically one thought at a time and build that habit of self-motivation is all a matter of how much in control you want to be. I read somewhere that we humans have up to 45,000 thoughts a day. I can't vouch for the accuracy of that figure, especially because I know some people who seem to have no more than 9 or 10. However, if it is true that we have 45,000 thoughts, then you can see how patient we have to be about turning a pessimistic thought habit around. The overall pattern won't change after just a few positive bounces of the brain. If you are a pessimist, your biocomputer has really been programmed heavily in that direction, but it doesn't take long before a new pattern can emerge. As a former pessimist myself, I can tell you it really happens. However, slowly but surely, you do change. 1/3 at a time. If you can bounce it one way, you can bounce it the other. Number 15. Light your lazy dynamite. Henry Ford used to point out to his colleagues that there wasn't any job that couldn't be handled if they were willing to break it down into little pieces. And when you have broken a job down, remember to allow yourself some slow motion in beginning the first piece. Just take it slow and easy. Because it isn't important how fast you are doing it. What's important is that you are doing it. Most of our hardest jobs never seem to get done. The mere thought of doing the whole job at a high energy level is frequently too off-putting to allow motivation to occur. But a good way to ease yourself into that motivation is to act as if you were the laziest person on the planet. It wasn't much of an act for me. By accepting that you are going to do your tasks in a slow and lazy way, there is no anxiety or dread about getting it started. In fact, you can even have fun by entering into it as if you were in a slow motion comedy, flowing into the work like a person made of water. But the paradox is that the slower you start something, the faster you will be finished. When you first think about doing something hard and overwhelming, you are most aware of how you don't want to do it at all. In other words, the mental picture you have of the activity, of doing it fast and furiously, it's not a happy picture, so you think of ways to avoid doing the job altogether. The thought of starting slowly is an easy thought, and doing it slowly allows you to actually start doing it. Therefore, it gets finished. Another thing that happens when you flow into a project slowly is that speed will often overtake you without your forcing it, just as the natural rhythm inside you will get you in sync with what you are doing. You will be surprised how soon your conscious mind stops forcing the action and your subconscious mind supplies you with easy energy. So take your time, start out lazy. Soon your tasks will be keeping the slow but persistent rhythm of that hypnotic song on Paul McCartney's Red Rose Speedway album, Oh Lazy Dynamite. The dynamite is living inside you. You don't have to be frenzied about setting it off. It lights just as well to a match struck slowly. Number 16. Choose the happy few. Politely walk away from friends who don't support the changes in your life. There will be friends who don't. They will be jealous and afraid every time you make a chance. They will see your new motivation as a condemnation of their own lack of it. In subtle ways, they will bring you back down to who you used to be. Be aware of friends and family who do this. They know not what they do. The people you spend time with will change your life in one way or another. If you associate with the cynics, they will pull you down with them. If you associate with people who support you in being happy and successful, you will have a head start on being happy and successful. Throughout the day, we have many choices regarding who we are going to be with and talk to. Don't just gravitate to the coffee machine and participate in the negative gossip because it's the only game in town. It will drain your energy and stifle your own optimism. We all know who lifts us up and we all know who brings us down. It's okay to start being more careful about to whom we give our time. In his inspiring book, Spontaneous Healing, Andrew Will recommends make a list of friends and acquaintances in whose company you feel more alive, happier, more optimistic. Pick one whom you will spend some time with this week. When you are in a conversation with a cynic, possibilities seem to have a way of disappearing. A mildly depressing sense of fatalism seems to take over the conversation. No new ideas and no innovative humor. Cynics, observe President Calvin Coolidge, do not create. On the other hand, enthusiasm for life is contagious. And being in a conversation with an optimist always opens us up to see more and more of life's possibilities. Kierkegaard once said, "If I were to wish for anything, I should not wish for wealth and power, but for the passionate sense of the potential, for the eye which ever young and ardent sees the possible. Pleasure disappoints, possibility never."